journalists, my name is PewDiePie, and welcome to
So how many of these graduates from Unit 8200 are running around the United States? The Israeli daily paper Haaretz explains it beautifully. On November 12, 2017, they wrote this: "Veterans of Israeli Army's elite code-breaking unit are New York's best-kept secret. Some 400 alumni of the IDF's high-tech Unit 8200 are now working in and around Manhattan. They face a unique challenge, showcasing their skills while maintaining a low profile about their Army past." Reporter Haim Handwerker goes on. "As I entered the spacious loft on the outskirts of Soho, the initial reception I received was decidedly unfriendly. An Israeli Wall Street veteran, a graduate of the Army's elite technological 8200 unit, asked firmly, 'What are you doing here? Journalists shouldn't be here.' Not a particularly warm welcome, especially as I had been formally invited." This was the inaugural gala event of Unit 8200 vets living in New York. About 400 of them are in the city, I was told, more than anywhere else in the United States. Someone estimated there are a further 200 in Silicon Valley and another 100 in the Boston area. It's no surprise that so many 8200 graduates choose New York, since the high-tech and startup industry here is booming and it's a cool place for high-tech folk to be. So New York CEO Guy Franklin, whose company offers a gateway into the US high-tech scene and who personally devised a map showing where New York's Israeli startups are based, says some 350 Israeli-controlled high-tech firms currently operate in the city. These firms range in size from startups to mature companies, and he estimates that about 5,000 Israelis are working in startups here, all of which means there's a relatively large concentration of 8200 alumni in the Israeli high-tech community. Now let's stop right here. I want you to think about that paragraph. There are 5,000 Israeli graduates working in startups here. So there are at least 5,000 Israelis working in startups, that's cyber technology, in New York alone. 5,000. How many are formal employed members of the Russian intelligence services? How many are intimately linked with New York Crown Heights and the infamous Chabad Lubavitch, the raving lunatic racist supremacist nutcases, Hasidim ultra-Orthodox Jews based out of Russia, best friends with Benjamin Netanyahu, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump? This is the real Russiagate. It gets better. It's certainly not unusual to find Israeli Defense Force units raising money in the United States. The leading fundraiser, of course, is the Friends of the IDF, which raises tens of millions of dollars every year at various events throughout the United States. Now listen closely to this paragraph. There's no doubt that 8200 alumni living in the United States have connections. Most of them work in high-tech, but some work on Wall Street, some are lawyers, etc. The idea was to take advantage of the connections 8200 alumni may have with the business world, whether that be venture capital funds, high-tech firms, investors, potential clients, or any other contact that might help 8200 SB participants progress. Journalist goes on, "Among the unit's alumni, there are those who think it preferable that former 8200 members in New York maintain a low profile, in order to protect their security and maintain the unit's secretive image. They are aware that the presence of so many alumni in the Big Apple is hardly a state secret, but there's no reason to attract excess attention. In any case, they asked me not to take photographs and said photos would be supplied by the organisers. Anyone who didn't want to be photographed wasn't." And the truth is, the military background of the unit's alumni is also liable to prompt questions. Israelis living abroad are often perceived as being Mossad agents, We can assume that this is simply not true in over 99% of the cases, but 8,200 alumni who talk about their past are liable to encounter a reaction accompanied by a mischievous smile. Ah, you work for the Mossad. Who needs the hassle? On the other hand, there's a big advantage when an alumni tells people from the business world that he or she served in Unit 8,200. It's certainly likely to impress the people they contact, assuming of course these people know what this magic number represents and what the unit does. So when it's convenient and it's useful, they talk about their time in 8,200. When it isn't, or it doesn't suit the economic or social interest, or just the ego, they adhere to the culture of secrecy. The end, and thank you, Haim, handworker of Haaretz. Boy, wasn't that interesting. Fact is, they're not just shifting Silicon Valley to Silicon Wadi in Israel. They're keeping it local too, but much more easy to control and infiltrate in New York, where the New York, New Jersey, Russian-Israeli mob dominates. They don't call New York Moscow on the Hudson for nothing. And it's always handy to have Chabad Lubavitch so close in Crown Heights. You remember Chabad Lubavitch? Jared and Ivanka Kushner? Their favourite racist, psychotic, lunatic, ultra-Orthodox sect of Judaism? The worldwide intelligence outfit working for Russia, founded in Russia, posing as an extremist religious cult? Yeah, that Chabad Lubavitch. The same Chabad Lubavitch associated with Australia's own Diamond Joe Goodnick, the richest Lubavitcher on the planet. Specialising in blood diamonds and gold, great way to transfer around the world drug money funds, especially in diamonds. Diamond Joe was implicated heavily in the funding of the Likud party coffers under Ariel Sharon and Benjamin Netanyahu many years ago. Some of us can remember Chabad Lubavitcher based in Melbourne, Victoria, a state of Australia, Mr. Narcom Goldberg, who laundered well over $100 million of drug money for the Likud party. This is what Chabad Lubavitch do. They're a Russian organised crime sect posing as a religious psychotic nutcase cult. I'm going to stop right there. It goes on forever, but you see the connections. Weapons trade, drug money laundering, casinos, and on and on and on. So now you have a basic grasp of a few particulars. Particularly the close relationship between Israel and Russia and Israeli military intelligence high technology training programs. Once you understand this, everything else will fall into place. Israel is a former Soviet republic, now part of the Russian Federation, not the 51st state of the United States. We'll go into the founding of the Israeli state by emigres from the old Russian Empire later, in parts to come. Here are just three of the approximately 10,000 graduates of the various Israeli military intelligence high technology programs currently running around the planet making Israel greater. My personal fave and poster boy for the subject is Asaf Rapoport. Rapoport is CEO of Microsoft Israel and graduate of both the Telpiot program and Unit 8,200. If you don't know what the Telpiot program is, then please visit my YouTube channel and watch Israel's secret weapon, the Telpiot program. Rapoport had a company called Adalom, specialising in cloud security. He sold it to Microsoft in 2015. Adalom means last line of defence in Hebrew. Here's a short clip.
The biggest problem of moving your data to the cloud is the lack of visibility and the lack of control and protection that you have. You are responsible for the data, but you cannot control it. And this is a gap for organization. This is what they are facing today. I'm Asaf Rapoport. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Adalom. Adalom is a SaaS security company that enables organizations to govern and to protect their data in any cloud application that they're using. The cloud revolution is here to stay. Primary applications, such as, of course, CRM and collaboration and email and HR, all of them are moving to the cloud, are already in the cloud, transparent to the user. Your user is going to use the same URL as they did before without them knowing about. Actually, the provider reroutes the traffic through Adalom, and we are providing back all the capabilities, control, governance, and visibility into all the activities that are happening. It's transparent to the user, it's transparent to the IT, and it's super simple to implement and deploy. So this is the first thing. The second thing is the breadth of application that we have. So we provide all the visibility, governance, and security to the widest breadth of applications. And the third thing, and actually it is the most important thing, this is the only solution that actually works, because we are the only vendor who actually showed in the wild found attacks going from compromised devices, the Zeus attack, to Office 365, identity vulnerabilities, and many variety of things. The three founders, Ami, Roy, and myself, came from the 8200 unit. It's the cybersecurity unit of the Israeli Defense Forces. So our DNA is security, and this is what we bring from the Homeland Security to the enterprise environment.
Did you hear that?
Because we are the only vendor who actually showed in the wild found attacks going from compromised devices, the Zeus attack, to Office 365, identity vulnerabilities, and many variety of things.
He said they were the only vendor to find attacks in the wild, meaning he and his friends made the attack and then they found it. Boy, talk about smashing windows for your Windows repair business. Pun intended. And yes, the cloud, and please state the cloud with air quotes,
The cloud.
is the future. Because that AI machine learning monster they are basing in Israel will need access to all the real-time data it can get its hands on. Rappaport was funded originally by the Rambam, or granddaddy of the whole Telpiot and Israeli high-tech program, Zohar Zisapel. Remember him? I featured him in my original video on Israel and Telpiot. Zisapel is the founding father of the current Israeli high-technology industry, and his company, Rad Group, controlled the cybersecurity of just about everything. From banking to ATMs to hospitals to critical infrastructure to telecoms, you name it, Rad Group are allegedly protecting it. This company is enormous with up to 27 subgroups. They are everywhere, and let me guess, you've never heard of them. Adalom is the basis for the upcoming win by Microsoft in the bid for the $10 billion JEDI, or Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure, Pentagon Central Server Cloud contract. Oh joy, you can see where this is going, can't you? And when they win the contract, which I suspect they were always going to do, then I bet it will all be coded and run from Soviet Israel. Right in the same building as they write the code and update Windows from and its associated products. Oh my. George!
Oh my.
Right now it's Microsoft and Amazon head to head. And don't worry, if Amazon wins the contract, the US Department of Defense will still be just as f***ed. In Australian IT parlance, the Pentagon cloud will be officially wanked in no time, even if Julian is sharing a bunk with Big Jimmy and Laurie the lad, doing porridge in Her Majesty's. And I hear Yevgeny Kaspersky and his friends just discovered their Jewish roots and have already put in their job applications to both companies. I'm sure Israeli personnel background checks at both Microsoft and Amazon are really thorough when you're checking old friends from Russia. Which reminds me of the WikiLeaks drop from US State Department files regarding former Defense and Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman and his close friendship with Vladimir Putin. Perhaps that's why he was unceremoniously dumped from the Likud cabinet after this matter was pushed by a group of people to various media, security, and military outlets. And no, we didn't post anything to Facebook. So not only will Asaf Rappaport be updating your Windows operating system whether at home or in the big corporate setting, maybe with the Boeing fly-by-wire software system.
We're out of 26,000 feet. We are in a vertical dive.
Not only will Mr. Rappaport be updating that,
but we've lost vertical control of our airplane.
filling updates with clever backdoors, which they can claim are unfortunate programming errors. Asaf and his friends from Unit 8200 Israeli/Russian military intelligence will be giving exclusive Hillary Clinton email server backdoor access to the Pentagon cloud.
The cloud.
Because good old-fashioned Americans are just way too stupid to do it themselves down at Palo Alto and Stanford. They got to call in an ethnic Russian Israeli and do all the work in a foreign hostile country called Israel, where once American engineering and technology marvels like the 1963 all-titanium turbo ramjet Mach 4 Plus, yes, Mach 4 Plus, 100,000 foot plus ceiling SR-71 Blackbird spy plane, those are the real numbers by the way, which was really a spaceship in disguise.
The SR-71 Blackbird, the world's fastest stealth spy plane. It flew faster than a rifle bullet. 3 times the speed of sound.
It looks like it's part spaceship, part airplane. And when you see it in the air, it's a piece of artwork.
Even now, 50 years later, it's still the fastest and highest man has ever flown without rocket propulsion.
The Blackbird is the iconic aircraft of high-speed supersonic cruise.
It was a multi-million-dollar gamble that stretched 60s aviation technology to the limits.
Incredibly forward-thinking design on this. No high-powered, computers, just rooms of people with slide rules and calculators.
The thing that's special about the Blackbird was it was all miracles.
Blackbird pilots risked their lives to fly at the edge of the possible.
It was just breathtaking when we realized what we were going to be doing.
These basically became sentinels, if you will, for the free world.
Its greatest legacy, helping maintain peace when the world was on the brink of nuclear war.
Despite America leading the world in such things, they are now complete incompetents and require Russian Orthodox Christians posing as Israeli Jews to come rescue them. And we might wonder about the deep Israeli involvement in the $1 trillion F-35 development program, mightn't we? We might also wonder where all that money went. So, with Mr. Rappaport and his Unit 8200 friends in both Tel Aviv and New York keeping American critical infrastructure and the DoD cloud service safe, I'm sure America is in good hands, and we must wonder just who won that Cold War.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the f*** are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
We've lost vertical control of our airplane.
Guys, this is bullshit. Stop doing this.
Not in a shy way.
This reminds me of my childhood. Stop this. Stop it.
I did it.
Where were you when it happened?
For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my
Coming in part 3, will President Trump pull up those scallywags down at the Department of Defense?
I would like to welcome you right now inside the Department of Defense.
Probably not.
Construction began, ironically, on September 11, 1941.
What are they doing at DOD?
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
We'll go into Sheldon Adelson, casino drug money launderer, special friend of the IDF, and one hell of a special friend to Israel and his School of Entrepreneurship, a commercial spy school in Herzliya, just next door to the Mossad building. We'll go into private intelligence networks, private armies. We'll go into the Mega Spy Group, a collection of Israeli-American Jewish billionaires who back Trump and Netanyahu, and the opposition when it suits. But most of all, we'll go into the University of Chicago and the old Professor Wolfstadter network and the good old Neo-Con network, the spiritual sons of Professor Wolfstadter, who you've most likely never heard of. Hang in there, more to come.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finish.
What are you, gay?
And I stay under you fighting, plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thundering.
He's beginning to believe.
I'm harder than nails, plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing.
Look at this. All he does is scream into the camera.
I brush your mouth like cold.
It makes me mad.